Yo, what is going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the NBA slate on DraftKings for Friday, February 2nd. We got a 9-game slate today. Really nice size slate on this Friday. Before we get started looking at this slate and going through each position, make sure you guys give the video a like, drop a like on the vid, and if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you click that subscribe button as well, so you'll never miss out on any of my new uploads. But yeah, guys, starting off at point guard, looking at point guard on this 9-game slate. Up top here, we got Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry, two expensive point guards we can consider on this slate. Westbrook definitely in a great spot here, 11-6 in a matchup against the Pelicans at home. Pretty concerning that the OKC is on a back-to-back. That does concern me a bit, but this is a really good matchup for Westbrook. Pelicans do struggle defensively against the point guard. Westbrook put up a 70-burger on them earlier this year, 22 points, 16 rebounds, 12 assists earlier this year against the Pelicans. I think if you're going to pay up for Westbrook, I think he's definitely worth it on this slate. If you're paying up at point guard, much rather have him over Steph Curry. But there are a lot of studs on the slate we can consider. Got Westbrook, Anthony Davis, Giannis, Curry, Durant, Embiid, even Dwight Howard. So a lot of good options up top. I don't think Westbrook's my favorite out of all the expensive options, but I would say he's definitely number 2 behind Anthony Davis. Really like Anthony Davis today. I'd prefer him over Westbrook, but obviously Westbrook, you can definitely play him in this spot. But looking at other point guards, I think this is a position we can definitely go to the mid-tier. I'm not sure if I'm going to be on a lot of these 8K and 7K options, just because I'm not sure if they have a lot of upside in their given matchups. I think like the 6K range is where we can find some really good plays. As you can tell by the thumbnail, in this mid-tier, love Ricky Rubio today, just 6,200 in a matchup against the Suns. Great matchup here. We know the Suns, terrible defensive team. They play at a very fast pace. Great spot for Rubio. Put up 45 DraftKings points earlier this year against the Suns. Had 15 points, 4 rebounds, 11 assists. Also got 4 steals against them as well. Played 34 minutes earlier this year against the Suns. One thing we like to see, you look at the minutes for Rubio lately. Been very consistent his last 4 games, 26, 37, 31, 35 minutes. To begin the year, Rubio wasn't getting a ton of minutes. And that was one of the reasons he was so cheap all year. Now his price is starting to get up there because he's been getting the minutes and he's been playing well. Even though he's up to 6,200 today, love this spot for Rubio. This guy has a lot of upside when he gets minutes, can definitely get you a double-double, even has a little bit of triple-double upside if he can get the rebounds. So love Rubio here in this mid-tier, definitely one of my favorite options at point guard. You could go to other plays like Terry Rozier if Kyrie Irving's out. You could play Rozier, he's got a great matchup, coming off a monster game. First career start against the Knicks, put up 58 DraftKings points, had a triple-double. Started that game for Kyrie. Kyrie is questionable as I'm recording this Thursday night. You could play Rozier in that mid-tier. You could play D'Angelo Russell in the revenge game. But his minutes haven't been that high lately. Hasn't played over 21 minutes since he came back from injury. Even though he did put up 37 DraftKings points in only 16 minutes his last game. Not sure if I want to go to Russell, especially when he's 6,500, and I can just get Rubio for actually cheaper than Russell. Rubio's the guy that I really like in that mid-tier. And then trying to find some value here. Go sub 5K. Don't see a lot of value plays we could really target. You could play Tyler Ulis, I guess, with Cannon being done for the season, but looks like Devin Booker is going to start at point guard, so Ulis is going to play off the bench. Don't like to see that. He only played 11 minutes last game against Dallas. Just been very inconsistent. Don't think we need to take this risk on a 9-game slate. Just not sure if point guard's a position I really want to go cheap at. Could have some value with Milwaukee. If Eric Bledsoe's out again, Brogdon did get hurt on Thursday. That really hurt a lot of my lineups. I did have Brogdon in a lot of lineups. He got hurt like 5 minutes into the game. Pretty disappointing. If he misses today and Bledsoe misses, that could open up point guard value from Milwaukee, so we could consider like Dellavedova, just 3,700. But not sure if that's really a guy I'm trying to play on a 9-game slate. I think you want to go to the mid-tier here. A lot of good options like in the 6K range. You can consider even like De'Aaron Fox you could play against the Warriors if you want to go there. Just really think the mid-tier and up top, obviously with Westbrook, is where we want to go at this position. But moving on to shooting guard. Looking at shooting guard today, I think this is another position I'm not really looking to pay up at. I think Drew Holiday is probably my favorite option here up top against OKC. With Roberson off the court, their defense, especially against shooting guards, is not nearly as good when Roberson is on the court. So this is a good spot for Drew Holiday. With DeMarcus Cousins off the court, he sees a big bump in usage. Played pretty well last game against Sacramento with Boogie off the court. Had 35 DraftKings points in 34 minutes, so somewhat of a solid game. Holiday's going to give you a 30, 35 point floor now that Boogie's gone, and he obviously has 45, 50 point upside. So if you're going to pay up at shooting guard, if you're not playing Holiday at point guard, I think he's my favorite option up top here. Doubt I'm going to be on Donovan Mitchell. Since he's almost 8K, I would much rather go down to Rubio, take nearly the $2,000 in savings, and play Rubio there. But then if we're going to this mid-tier shooting guard, like this 6K price range, not seeing a lot of plays here that really stick out to me as being great options. Like you could play Russell, I guess, in tournaments if you want to do that, but that's kind of risky. Could play Rozier if Kyrie's out again, but he's really priced up. Don't see a lot of plays in that 6K range I'm in love with. In this 5K price range, I think Jaylen Brown definitely in play here. 5,900 in a matchup against the Hawks. Hawks not good defensively against the shooting guard. Jaylen Brown sees a little bit of a bump if Kyrie is out today, so we can definitely consider him, especially if Kyrie does miss. And in their last game with Kyrie off the court, Brown did only play 28 minutes, but that was because it was a blowout. The Celtics won by 30 points against the Knicks. Brown still put up 24 DraftKings points in just 28 minutes. This is a great matchup here. Didn't see much of a price increase. I really like Jaylen Brown if you're going to that 5K range. I think he is a good option today. Josh Jackson, another guy you could go to in that 5K range. He's coming off a very nice game against Dallas where he put up 39 DraftKings points in just 28 minutes. He did start in that game. He started at shooting guard alongside Booker. That might be something the Suns continue to do. If they do continue to do that and Jackson continues to see 28, 29, 30 minutes a game. Tough matchup against Utah. Don't really like to target them just because of the pace. They play at such a slow pace. But I think Jackson, just given how he's only 5,200, he can pay this off, especially if he gets the consistent minutes. And then trying to find value at this position, if we're going really cheap here, I don't see a lot of cheap value plays that really stand out to me as being like great options. There's a good chance Tony Snell plays some heavy minutes here if Bledsoe and Brogdon both miss. You could play him at just 3,700. But he's a guy that can play 30, 35 minutes and only give you 15, 20 DraftKings points. Doesn't do much when he's on the court, but he's only 3,700. You're not taking much of a risk when you're rostering a guy this cheap who's going to play a lot of minutes. So he's the one guy, if you want to go cheap here, that I see. You could play him. You could also play Dellavedova as well at shooting guard if Brogdon and Bledsoe are both out. But that's what I'm seeing at shooting guard, at least for value plays. Value plays that really stick out to me looking at the slate the night before. So moving on to small forward, going to go ahead and look at up top of this position. Got Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo up top here. KD's 10-4 against Sacramento. Giannis 10-8 against the Knicks. These guys are not the guys I really want to pay up for today. Definitely not paying up for small forward on this slate because I don't really like these options. And definitely not playing KD and Giannis over like Westbrook, Anthony Davis. I'd much rather have those guys. So not going to be looking to pay up here. I think this might be a position we can go to the mid-tier or maybe try and find some cheap value. Just a lot of these mid-tier options like Ben Simmons, DeRozan, PG, Middleton. Not sure if these are guys that I'm really trying to jam in on this slate. Not sure if these are guys, if I don't play them, if they're really going to burn me. I think Middleton might be the best option here at 7,300. If Bledsoe and Brogdon are both out, that is a little bit of a bump for Middleton. And he's still relatively cheap at just 7,300. Has been giving you a consistent floor lately. You're going to get about 30 or 35 DraftKings points from Middleton. And he has that 45, 50 point upside that you like to see. Not sure if he's a guy I'm really jamming on this slate, but if you want to pay up here, I think Middleton is definitely my favorite option at 7,300. But this 5K price range is where we can really look to go, I think. You got like Jaylen Brown here who you could play at 5,900. He's a guy I definitely like on this slate. I want to attack Brooklyn with some of these Lakers, but a lot of these guys don't get very consistent minutes. Kuzma lately, the minutes have started to be a lot more consistent. 27, 27, 23, 28 minutes his last 4 games. But the production hasn't been there. 18, 12, 17 DraftKings points last 3 games. I think we can go a little bit cheaper off of Kuzma. There is a guy from the Lakers that I like that's a little bit cheaper. He is one of my 5 plays. 5K, Larry Nance, an option that I really like is small forward or power forward in that game, going up against Brooklyn. Love to target Brooklyn with bigs. They really struggle to defend bigs. So this is a great spot for Larry Nance. This guy, when he gets minutes, he can definitely produce for you. The minutes have been consistent for him lately. 26, 22, 25, and 25 minutes his last 4 games. So you're going to get mid-20s in minutes from him. And if he's playing really well and Julius Randle's struggling, there's a chance Larry Nance could get near 30 minutes. And if he plays 25 to 30 minutes against this Brooklyn front court, he should absolutely be able to crush value on this price. Really like Larry Nance here, just given how consistent the minutes have been, given the matchup against Brooklyn. I think it's a great spot for Nance. Love him at small forward or power forward if you're trying to go cheap here. And then going sub 5K for cheap value. Just another position I'm not really seeing a lot of cheap value plays that stick out to me. Not really seeing a lot of value plays on this slate in general. At least options that really catch my eye looking at this slate the night before. It might be hard to do a Stars and Scrubs lineup today unless value opens up as the day goes on. Maybe you could go to Michael Beasley at 5K in the revenge game against the Bucks. Did play for the Bucks last year. You could do that if you want to chase that narrative, but Beasley's definitely not like a guy I'm jamming in on this slate. Not really seeing a lot of value sub 5K that just stands out to me as being like great value. So let's go ahead and move on to power forward and look up top here. Up top of this position, definitely like Anthony Davis. He is one of my 5 plays today. 11,400 going up against OKC. This isn't the best matchup against OKC. They do have solid defenders. They got PG. Not sure if PG really matches up well with Anthony Davis, but they also got Steven Adams, who is a solid defender. But with DeMarcus Cousins off the court, Anthony Davis just sees so much usage, so many shots he's going to take. He's going to play a ton of minutes. Last game against the Kings, Boogie missed, and AD played 36 minutes, put up 61 DraftKings points, had 23 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 blocks. Just a monster game from Anthony Davis. Put up 61 earlier this year against the Thunder. Love AD here. Definitely one of my favorite plays on this slate, at least if we're talking about the studs. I think a lot of people are probably going to play Westbrook over Anthony Davis, but I would prefer AD for a little bit cheaper. Just really like this matchup for him with no Boogie. He's the number 1 option for the Pelicans, and I think he is easily able to pay off this price tag. Still pretty cheap, just 11.4. Didn't see much of a price increase at all. But if you don't want to pay up for Anthony Davis, there are some mid-tier plays you can definitely consider. Al Horford against the Hawks is a guy that I definitely like in this mid-range, especially if Kyrie's out. Horford does see a little bit of an increase in usage with Kyrie off the court. Played 23 minutes their last game against the Knicks, only played 23 minutes due to blowout, but still put up 36 DraftKings points, had 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists. He's got a great matchup today against a Hawks front court that just is not good without Dwight Howard since he left that team. Their defense against centers has not been great. Really like Horford here. If you don't want to pay for Anthony Davis, I think he is a really good option. You can play him at power forward or center. 7,600, great matchup. Really like him if Kyrie does not play today. You could go a little bit cheaper and go down to Cantor or Julius Randle. Randle's got a great matchup against Brooklyn. Cantor has been playing really well lately. He's got a pretty good matchup as well. Milwaukee really struggles to defend centers and to defend bigs. Lately, like I said, Cantor been playing really well. Had some monster games. Had a 20-20 game against Brooklyn, 20-10 against Phoenix, 17-17 against Boston. He's been getting a lot of points, getting a lot of rebounds, been racking up the DraftKings points. He's priced up to 6,900, but with the way he's been playing lately and how consistent the minutes have been, I think you can consider Cantor here at 6,900. I think I'd rather get up to Horford if you can find the salary, but if you can't, Cantor is definitely an option you can use to save some salary. And then in this mid-tier, if we want to go here, Derek Favors sticks out to me as being a little bit too cheap, given his matchup today against the Suns. The Suns just so bad defensively, and even with Rudy Gobert back, Favors has still been playing pretty well lately. His last 3 games, 33, 28, 39 DraftKings points, played 24, 27, 26 minutes. The minutes haven't been as high for Favors. He was playing over 30 minutes a game when Gobert was out. But just given the matchup today and how cheap Favors is, he can still pay this price tag off against the Suns, even if he only plays 25, 26, 27 minutes. So if you want to go to him, 5,600, he's an option that stands out to me in a great matchup against the Suns. And then trying to find some value sub 5K. If we want to go cheap here, definitely a couple plays I see. Frank Kaminsky is a guy that I like, 4,700 in a matchup against the Pacers. We've already got news that Marvin Williams going to be out today, so Kaminsky will most likely be in the starting lineup again. DraftKings has him listed as questionable as I'm recording this Thursday night, but he's actually probable. He's expected to play, so going to be in the starting lineup, going to play a lot of minutes. Played 30 minutes last game against the Hawks when he started. Only put up 19 DraftKings points, so it's pretty disappointing, but the minutes were there. And as long as he's going to play close to 30 minutes again against this Pacers front court, we can definitely consider Frank the Tank here. Don't mind going back to him, even though he disappointed me the other day. This is another good matchup, and he's still really cheap, just 4,700. So I like him as a value option if you're going cheap here. And another value option just right under him, Jarrett Allen, 4,600 against the Lakers. He's been seeing pretty consistent minutes lately. The minutes haven't been very high for Jarrett Allen, but he's a guy that can usually get you a DraftKings point per minute. We've seen it lately, 39 DraftKings points in only 26 minutes against the Sixers. 25 DK points in only 20 minutes against the Bucks. Great matchup here against the Lakers. Jarrett Allen has been starting the last few games, I know, and if he continues to start, and especially given today's matchup, definitely a good value play you could go to at just 4,600. But that's what I'm seeing for cheap value, at least sub 5K options that really stand out to me at power forward. So let's go ahead and move on to center. Look up top here. Definitely have some really intriguing plays. Could play Joel Embiid going up against Whiteside. Could play Dwight Howard in a great matchup against the Pacers. I think if I am going to pay up at this position, Howard is by far my favorite option at 9,200. This Pacers front court, defending the center, they've just been so bad this year. They've been giving up a ton of fantasy points to centers on the year. Even though Howard's priced up to 9,200, this guy's been giving you such a nice floor. Definitely a good cash play on this slate, I feel like. Lately, you've been getting about a 40-point floor from him. Even when Howard's sort of having his night off, even when he's having some bad games, he can still get you 35 to 40 DraftKings points. And when he has that monster game, like he did against Atlanta a couple games ago, he can put up that 50, 55-point game. Wouldn't be surprised at all if he has another 50-point game here against this Pacers team that just can't defend centers. Love Howard up top here if you can fit him in. I am seeing some value at center that I do like, so I'm not sure if I want to pay up at this position unless I'm like playing Anthony Davis or Howard. But if you find value at other positions that you like, or if value opens up as the day goes on, then Howard is a guy that I am trying to fit in on this slate. But in this mid tier, a lot of options here that I've already kind of talked about, like Al Horford I really like today. If Kyrie's out, you can play him at center. Gobert's interesting against Phoenix, but priced up to 8K. Not sure if I want to pay that much for Gobert. I think I'd rather just get up to Dwight Howard for a little bit more. So value, this is where I see some value at center. This is a position that I think we can go cheap at and find plays that are sub 5K. Two options, two of my 5 plays coming from center, 5K and under. First guy is John Henson, 4,800 in a matchup against the Knicks. Henson just been really consistent lately. The price tag hasn't really caught up to the production. Been giving you about a 25-point floor lately, it seems like. His last 4 games, 26, 34, 25, 25 DraftKings points. And the minutes have been very consistent for Henson, playing about 25 to 30 minutes every game. And matched up with Kanter here, Kanter is not the best defender. I think we see Henson get another game where he puts up 25 to 30 DraftKings points and pays off this price tag. Still feels too cheap at 4,800. I like him in cash if you want to go cheap at center, just with how consistent he's been. I feel like he's able to get a double-double here and pay off this price. So sub 5K, he's a center option that I really like, just 4,800. The other center value play I really like is Tyson Chandler, 4,600 in a matchup against Utah. Now this is obviously a terrible matchup. Hate to take centers against Rudy Gobert, but I just feel like this is a spot where Chandler's going to have to play minutes, especially if Alex Len is out. We already know that the Suns are getting rid of Greg Monroe. I believe they bought out his contract, so he's not going to be on the Suns anymore. Alex Len's questionable. If he misses, Tyson Chandler is really the only center that the Suns have active for this game, and nobody else is really going to match up with Gobert besides Tyson Chandler. So whenever Gobert is on the court, Tyson Chandler is going to have to be on the court. When this guy does start and get minutes, or when he does start, he usually gets 25 to 30 minutes, especially if it's a competitive game. He can definitely get you a double-double here, even though it's a tough matchup against Gobert. Chandler is still really cheap. At just 4,600, he gets you 24, 25 DK points. You'll take that at this price. So I like him as a value play today. Maybe more value will open up as the day goes on. We won't really have to consider center against Rudy Gobert, but right now Chandler is a guy that I see that we can consider for value on this slate. That's what I'm seeing for cheap value plays, at least options that really stand out to me. So I think that's pretty much it for center today, guys. I think that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure you give the video a like, and make sure you subscribe if you have not already. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT, or just leave a comment down below. I'll try and get back to your question as soon as I can. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck tonight on the slate, guys. Peace.